your entry into the network and into the site is by your CAC card, and then delineate those privileges down to the folder, even within an environment. Say, you have some acquisition data that you have a contract team that's part of your team, but you don't want them to see that part. You can drill down and put privileges at the folder level for that particular area.
I wanted to add to that. Authentication is from your CAC. Authorization is from your content owner. So that can be separated between students and other roles as well.
But we actually, the EDCG asked us to set a site up for West Point, and they are outside of our domain so far as authentication, and we had to handle things a little bit different for them. That worked out real well because we wanted to share with them opportunities at the command so that they could pick areas of interest for study.
Eddie Henderson, Fort Sill G6. How many people do you actually have on staff who support this SharePoint portal, if I can ask?
I can talk to that, and I'm going to talk to it from different perspectives. When we were migrating, we had 30. Probably could have used more because a lot of assistance was required, not just to do the migration part from 2007 to 2010, but I would have liked to give them more support to the user to help them check their content. Because it's one thing to look and see if a folder's there versus going down to the document, looking at the integrity before and after, so they actually can realize that. That's a lot of man-hour stuff. So about 30 is what we had during the peak of migration and everything. Right now, because of resources, we have about 12. I prefer 15 to 20 in order to continue rolling out capabilities. 12 just gives me the ability to basically keep the lights on and do some little improvements here and there. Any additional work will have to be resourced to school.
Okay. So if I understand, you have about 12 people on a day-to-day basis for sustainment as well as future development.
Small development, not major things.
Yeah, well,
that 12 is just really kind of minimum.
Minimum, but that's not bad.
Colonel Martin, did you have something to add for your staff and the capability that you have? Because that's even a different perspective.
Army Sustainment Command, we currently have 19 people that do SharePoint, but it's not just strictly SharePoint because they're also doing application development. They do custom application development, but we also we support outside of the command. We've done some things for Army Material Command, we've done some things for NetCom, or different commands that come to us and leverage they want to leverage the expertise that we have on our team, because we can build something very, very quickly because we've already done that. We can do that and do a 48-hour turnaround time. Against another organization, which I will remain nameless, came back and said that would take them 7 weeks to be able to build what we had done. We did it in less than 48 hours, had it published, put it on the SharePoint site to help do certain things within email migration.
One more follow-on question, just out of curiosity. Maybe this was mentioned earlier and I missed it. How are you organized in the CIO G6 arena and with your knowledge management arena? I mean, do you have an official knowledge management cell? And if so, where is that embedded at? But ultimately, who's responsible for success or failure of your portal?
I think Dr. Samako would be calling me real quick if something happened to it. That's first. But it started, our knowledge management from a headquarters perspective functionally started with our chief of staff. Okay? When they realized the importance of that, the brag and other things, in order to make it important, you put an important person in charge of it. He championed it. Okay? Since then, they moved that over to G3. Again, that's the priority of the command and the headquarters is from a G3 operation perspective. So they've taken that role on. And we are partnered in 2 ways. Part of us in G6 used to be G3. We were the enterprise integrators. Now I'm part of the G6, so I am a functionally KM used person just by nature of the beast, okay? And I, as a PM, have all the PM projects for the headquarters. And so it's my responsibility to take the requirements and stay partnered. When we present, even at resource briefings or anything like that, I take a step back and the functional presents the capability. It's theirs. An example, the Operations Center is now using a dynamic way to show the Operations Center and situational awareness to the CG as a capability. Not just flat PowerPoint charts anymore. We've shown that we can use this capability to do that. So when they go get resources and they need to fund the project and they want to brief the G3, used to, yesterday, way back, the G6, since we developed it, we would brief that, okay? That's not the case anymore. We provide technical support if they have technical questions, but the champion, the functional champion goes forth with that, okay? So they take responsibility. It's still a partnership. And I think we'd still go down the ship if something happened to it. But again, it's a change of culture to get the functional people to step up. We're just the enabler. Does that get me?
Well, you answered what I thought happened is because you mentioned content and relevancy of the site. Normally the G6 provides the tools, but if you don't get the commanders and the directors and the senior people to buy into it and take responsibility for the content, your KM is never successful.
Exactly.
It sounds like you've been able to do that. You actually hold the content owner, the functional area, responsible for what's in the port.
We really work hard. That's a relationship that you can't sustain. It always has to be put more energy on it to keep it going. Good point.
Hi, my name is Lieutenant Colonel Mason from SOC South. I live in a joint environment. In the joint world, I'm looking at one of my senior command here. In a joint environment, we have so many documents, so many elements that we have to take into effect when we're planning, managing day-to-day, both CONUS and OCONUS. Are you dealing with any outside service documents, and how might you be doing that to help incorporate that or build out your KM, your database for knowledge management? Because in the joint world, we have a lot of struggles doing so.
I will tell you operationally that the content that people are put behind doesn't necessarily just AMC headquarters and Army. It does cross-functional. So far as sharing across a joint environment, other than the AOR when they're doing that, I don't know of another presence that they are. Somewhat on the SIPR, I won't get into that here, but we do have opportunities to do that. It's more of a challenge in the way of authentication, but again, we have a very good expert on the ground in our team that's also the same conduit expertise company at DISA level that's making sure that we have that capability to do just that, because we know it's a challenge.
I was looking at some of your live presentation, and we have a challenge of out in Southcom AOR, and looking at all the countries that are way out there, and we're trying to get live information to all of our desk chiefs. So in fact, we have really good information at any given time. It cuts down a lot of the time it takes to do a review. The thing is, some of those tools look really quite nice. Have you taken feeds such as Geeks or anything else like that, and looked at importing that into this type of platform?
There are some other areas that, again, it's based on requirements, what the G3 gives us. If we had that, we would look at that challenge. I will tell you the G2 has other tool sets, as you can imagine, using the same environment. Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry I couldn't get real specific, but hopefully that gives you a little taste of what we can provide for the SharePoint capability.
Hi, I'm from Tarnak. We have a portal that we stood up about 2 years ago, and we've been slowly creating it and causing a disaster because of no content management. Do you have a defined content management plan that we could leverage or take a look at?
Absolutely. The team can be glad to share that with you.
Yeah, was this an addition to an existing IT contract, or do you have to write a new performance work statement to get this worked out?
No, we had a general program management, IT service, and material development type of contract because we are the G6, and so we were able to leverage that vehicle. I would hate to know every time I did something different, I would have to do a contract. So we tried to write a real general one, if that helps. Knowing that the future G6 requirements were.
I heard you have a SIPR site. Is that also a replica of what you have on
Not content, just the capability.
So you're not transferring data from here to there and keep it mirrored?
I'll probably have to talk to you about it offline, but no, we don't have a CDS solution across domain between the two today.
And how did you integrate my sites into all this? I saw when you show names, people are using my sites as part of
Yes.
Oh, this information?
Yes, and because of our multi-tenant environment, our My Sites go across all tenants. So they're not just H2AMC specific. They also include members from ACC and other people on the
Do you
board.
encourage networking and everything else that comes with it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a standard My Site template, just branded with our branding that we have.
Thank you.
I think that's.
One more question.
This is quick. For those of us who would like to get into your portal and look around, is that possible even though we're not part of AMC?
Yeah, we've got some brochures and things that you want to look at to see what it is, and then if you actually want to see the tool set, we'll make arrangements for you to be able to play with it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We do have brochures and slick sheets up here in the front. It's a limited supply, but if you'd like one, please come to the front.
Hey, I want to thank Jessica and Bob for obviously they're going to bring some insight into the way ahead for the CIO G6 community across the ACOMs and within the enterprise. So there's a lot of lessons that we can take advantage of if we want to do that. Before you leave, I want to make sure you remember this will be the rooms for the succeeding sessions. Tomorrow morning we have a panel with APQC membership, senior leaders from the Army. We have a trade-off tools session that will be run by the Center of Excellence. And then on Friday or Thursday we have the ForceCom leading a warfighter forum effort and description of what they do in that area. So again, thanks for coming. Engage with us. The SharePoint site or the site for the information is the sco.ako.kmo.army.mil. Thanks.
Get her for a second, please. Jessica? Yes, we got people asking questions. I've got some folks in Afghanistan asking some questions.